bit of confidence in by maybe letting them go in that situation. If they can make it, he can boost that confidence, because the offense has been the problem with the Ottawa Roughriders.
Well, I agree with that point, and I also think that you're not going to beat BC by kicking field goals either.
That's a good point.
So Robinson comes up a couple of yards short, but BC at least has a little breathing room at their own 11-yard line. It's second down, 2 yards to go for the first down. The Lions lead it 14-0. We are here in the first quarter at Lansdowne Park. John Henry White gets it to about the 12-yard line, and a flag is down. Ricky Barden came up and made the stop.
Let me tell you, Ralph Dixon, number 22, the defensive back on the short side of the field, is going to be called for offside. So regardless of whether they're short of the first down, they're going to pick it up anyway.
And there's the 5-yard penalty marched off.
Offside, Ottawa number 22, first down.
Well, it was Ralph Dixon, as Leaf pointed out, who was offside on the play. So the Lions get a very important.
We are experiencing sound difficulties, which will be corrected in just a few moments.
The problems we are experiencing originate with the network. We are experiencing problems with the audio portion of our transmission. Please do not adjust your set.
of the CFL in quarterback sacks with 35. They feel they have 42, but because the CFL doesn't acknowledge half sacks, they have actually sacked the opposition quarterback 35 times. And they have 3 more tonight, so make it 38 on the season.
And I guarantee you they're going to be coming right here. Well, I can't see.
Lions and Ottawa's special teams, which have been really the best part of their operation since the start of this season, were able to contain him to a return of only about 7 yards to the 40. Darnell Flash, only in his 2nd season with the BC Lions, but he has been an exciting individual.
Yeah, and he's a solid cornerback too. He can play that corner.
So Roy DeWalt, who has completed 7 of 10 for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns, now takes over with the ball at his own 39-yard line. Mervyn Fernandez. And Fernandez was able to slip away from JoJo Heath, but Rick Sovieta caught up with him from behind and made the stop after a pickup of just about 3 yards.
JoJo Heath read that play perfectly, though. He was really the one that forced it. Sovieta cleaned up on it.
Actually make it a 2-yard gain because they spot the ball at the 41-yard line. It's 2nd and 8. DeWalt's pass is complete to Keevan Jenkins. There's a flag down in the area where sometimes you get roughing penalties against the Ottawa Roughriders, and that's what it's going to be. They roughed up Roy DeWalt.
Ottawa's really making some critical mistakes in this first half that's costing them. A holding penalty cost them a 1st down early in the game, and an interception by Kevin Konar. Now a roughing penalty when really the ball had gone is really hurting. That's an extra 15 yards that you just can't give BC.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Ottawa number 63, 1st down.
That's the newcomer Lloyd Lewis, number 63, who played all of the USFL season and is now playing back-to-back seasons here, starting at the left defensive end spot for Ottawa. Lloyd Lewis. There's Bernard Quarles, acquired by Ottawa from the Calgary Stampeders, and he may very well be in this ball game before much longer. JoJo Heath chased that one down. Mervyn Fernandez pulled up. Obviously, there was a little bit of misreading there on somebody's part, either DeWalt or Fernandez.
Well, they had the safety blitz coming with Ricky Barden, and Roy DeWalt read that and figured he had 1-on-1 out there with Mervyn. Went for the home run, but miscommunication, Pat, as you said. You know, if you're the Ottawa Roughriders and you come into this game against the top team in the country, you've got to say to yourself, we have to play error-free football if we want a chance to win, and so far that just hasn't been the case.
So it's 2nd and 10 BC at the Ottawa 46. And DeWalt gets to about the 44, but there is a flag down in the Ottawa secondary.
Penalty is not applied. Okay, we got 3rd down here.
So because DeWalt only picked up a couple of yards, it makes it 3rd and 8. Louis Pasaglia comes out onto the field.
Well, we have a situation as you look at the head coach, Don Matthews, where he's a little concerned because after 5 straight wins, they lost to Calgary. He said, people said, what's wrong with us after our slight win over Hamilton? He said, I was concerned. He said, the players had self-evaluation. And he said, versus Hamilton, I couldn't accept the way we played. So you know that Ottawa's in tough because BC feels they've got something to prove tonight.
Pasaglia's field goal is good. Just made it over the bar from 50 yards out. The BC Lions are out in front of the Ottawa Roughriders 17-3, and we'll be back in just a moment. Well, as you take a look at the new quarterback for the Ottawa Roughriders, Bernard Quarles, let me tell you that Louis Pasaglia's 50-yard successful field goal is not his longest of this season. He had one earlier in the year for 54 yards. But Bernard Quarles, this is not really surprising because Joe Moss told me yesterday, if JC doesn't get the job done early, I'm going to Quarles, who has a much better arm. So Ottawa starts from their own 35-yard line. Again, this one is batted down by Ty Cruz, the middle linebacker, and we've got a flag down. We're going to have a roughing penalty against the BC Lions.
Yeah, Rick Klassen came in a little late, and he's the one that's going to get called. And I like this call because they've got to protect those quarterbacks, and the officials are desperately trying to do that.
Major foul, roughing the passer, BC number 90, first down.
Well, they called it on Rick Klassen, number 90.
Well, here you see Quarles has released the football, and Ty Cruz should have picked that off. You couldn't quite see the roughing call, but I guarantee you it took place.
Ottawa, with the benefit of that 15-yard penalty, now have possession at their own 50. Well, Quarles looked, there was nobody open, and he's dropped by Mike Gray, number 77, the right defensive tackle.
That BC front four is having a heck of a first half, really putting a lot of pressure on both Ottawa quarterbacks. Mike Gray, a sack right there, and tipped the ball that Konar intercepted, so he's playing like we saw him back in Hamilton.
Mike had 10.5 sacks coming into this ball game. And he registers another one right there. The loss is only a yard, so make it 2nd and 11 Ottawa at their 49. And again, Quarles is dropped, and by guess who? Mike Gray. Second time in a row.
As Joe Moss says, the Lions play get the quarterback. That's their whole ball game, and boy, they've been getting them tonight.
Well, that's really the philosophy of Don Matthews. Aggressive, challenging type of defense, and of course he's got the guys that can do it. That's what it really takes. You've got to have a lot of team speed on defense, and that's their greatest asset.
I'll tell you, Mike Gray beat the block of a man considered to be one of the best blockers in the CFL, Jim Reed, and he just moved around him like he wasn't there. Ken Clark punting into the wind for the first time, and it doesn't make any difference to him. He booms another one. This is Clash. And Clash is dropped at about the 19-yard line. Wayman Aldridge, playing like he knows his job is on the line, and it may well be, was first down to make the tackle. 49 yards the boot and only a 2-yard return. Oh, what a game for you fans in BC next Friday. The Toronto Argonauts will be in there. The Argos have really suffered of late with the injury to Condredge Holloway. But you know they're off this week, and they will be fired up to meet the Lions in BC Place next Friday night.
Well, they've got a couple of new quarterbacks in on 21-day trials. Buddy Funk is one of them, and if either one of these guys pans out, you know they'll make some changes. Bob Obilovich, by the way, is here scouting the game.
I'll tell you, that was a pretty alert play by JoJo Heath because that was very close to a lateral pass. Let's take a look at this. This is very, very close.
It sure is tough to tell from that camera angle, but
trying to swing it out to Key Van Jenkins, but he got his fingertips on it. That was it. So it's 2nd and 10 BC, the ball at their 19-yard line. Lions lead it 17-3 with 9 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. Flag goes down, and so does DeWalt back at the 10-yard line. Lloyd Lewis with the sack for the Roughriders. Actually, I think it was
You watch, it's a good call. It was Lloyd Lewis. Watch number 63 on the left side of your screen come in. He puts the initial hit, takes Walt down, rips his helmet off, and then Michel Bourgeot comes in and pins him, makes sure he doesn't get up.
There was a marker down on the field, so let's wait and see now.
It's tough sometimes to stand in that pocket.
Offside, Ottawa. Holding BC. So the difference, of course, is 5 yards. Ball is pushed back to the 14-yard line. They'll repeat second down. Second and 15, the Lions. DeWalt dropped the football because of the pressure by Lloyd Lewis once again. He just jerked the ball right out of his hands. But fortunately for BC, DeWalt was able to fall on it. Let's watch Lloyd Lewis, number 63.
That's a great job. He's working on number 61, Brian Illebrennen, for the second play in a row, able to get by him and come up with a big play, stripping the ball loose. And this Ottawa defense seems a little more charged up in the second quarter.
Derek Zeno, who is second only to Darnell Clash of BC in punt returns, is back to return this one for Ottawa. Has to chase it down at the BC 53. The flag is down as Zeno gets inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line. And we'll find out what the penalty marker is about when we come back. The Lions are leading at 17-3, and we'll return in a moment. Ottawa clipping was called against Mike McIntyre, and so the ball is back at the Ottawa 50 instead of being inside the BC 40. There's a look at the penalty situation. Ottawa 5 for 50, the Lions 3 for 35. And the Ottawa penalties have really been critical because it eliminated their first offensive play. It is cut back here on a big return by Derek Zeno, but Ottawa is at their own 50. With a first down, Bernard Quarles with the handoff to Lester Brown. Lester crosses midfield into BC territory before Ty Cruz, number 91, the middle linebacker, is there to bring him down.
Lester Brown had that 137-yard game against the BC Lions, or rather against the Toronto Argonauts in the last game for the Ottawa Roughriders. So we asked Joe Moss about the rushing, if he was going to do a lot more running with Lester. He said, well, he said, what Lester did against Toronto, he said, that may be more running we do the whole rest of the year.
Bernard Quarles ran that time, hoping to pick up the first down before Mike Gray made the tackle. Now, if they spot it right at the 50, it'll be a first down for Ottawa.
Well, he just did a great job to get away from Kevin Konar initially and even have a shot at picking up the first down. They're going to measure.
If Bernard Quarles can play well for the rest of this ball game, he's going to be the Ottawa starter next week.
He's a good size, 6'1", 205 from the University of Hawaii. And as you saw right there, he did get that extra inch and pick up the first down.
Hasn't played very much this season, has 1 interception and 1 touchdown pass. But Joe Moss, the man you see on your screen right now, feels that his arm is so much better than JC's that he may have to go with him. This is Lester Brown again. And Lester was hoping to slide to the outside, but Ty Cruz, the middle linebacker, had him and just wouldn't let him get away.
Well, in that 4-3 defense, that's what you want your middle linebacker to do. He's the guy that's got to make those plays, and he read it perfectly. When Lester slashed it to the outside, Ty Cruz was there immediately, made the stop.
7 minutes, 5 seconds left to play in the first half. The BC Lions put a couple of impressive drives together. They resulted in touchdown passes to Jim Sandusky. As you look at J.C. Watts on the sidelines,
he's been a disappointment this year.
This is Wayman Aldridge. Aldridge did an excellent job following his blocks, picks up the first down for Ottawa, and gets to the BC 37 before Melvin Bird, number 10, was there to bring him down.
Well, let's have a close look at Wayman Aldridge. It's the quick screen to the wide receiver. Watch number 50, Kevin Powell, get out. He gets a block. Mike Hamlick out in front, and that's a really well-executed offensive play.
Mel Bird just slightly shaken up on the play, so that means that Larry Crawford will come in there. Aldridge this evening has caught 4 passes for 56 yards.
Yeah, he's looked good. He's looked good on special teams, too. Made a couple of tackles, and tough to see Mel Byrd come out of the ball game, but you sure don't hurt yourself when you can put a guy like Larry Crawford in to replace him.
Well, you talk about depth, though.
Oh.
I mean, they are just loaded at every position.
Well, the guys that they have in the reserve list are pretty awesome, too.
Flag is down. Quarles was thrown to the turf, but they will rule that he was in the grasp of the defender, and a holding penalty is also going to be charged against Ottawa, but the Lions will decline it. Nick Hebler was there to make the stop.
Well, time and time again, BC just comes up with the big plays on defense.
Holding. Ottawa number 50. Decline. Second down.
It's Kevin Powell once again, number 50.
He's at the top of your screen, left-hand side. Let's have a look. He's working against Glenn Jackson on the blitz, and you can't see the holding call, but really didn't make much difference, as once again that BC front four puts a lot of pressure on the Ottawa quarterbacks.
Well, you talk about pressure. That's the 6th sack already, and we still have 6 minutes left to play in the first half.
Well, these guys like Nick Hebler and Rick Klassen, they've just got great desire to want to get to the quarterback.
Quarles' pass is complete to Mark Barousse. And Barousse fumbles the football. The Lions recover it. Darnell Clash, who's always around the ball in any event, is there to make the recovery for the Lions.
Well, there you see the disappointment on the face of head coach Joe Moss. He can't believe it, and they set up a pretty good play here to the slot back Mark Barousse. At least they put themselves into field goal range with this, but he coughs it up, and Darnell Clash very alert as he comes up for the recovery. But that cost them a shot at 3 points. You know, they weren't going to pick up the first down, but
you made a point earlier, and you're so right. For Ottawa to win this football game, they cannot make mistakes, but they have made some, and as a result, they trail by 14 points. DeWalt going deep for John Pankratz. He makes the catch inside the Ottawa 30 to the 28-yard line. But there is a penalty marker on the field. Gee, DeWalt threw that ball nicely, though.
That was a great play, too. You know, they faked the quick screen to Mervyn Fernandez and just wheeled Pankratz up the field. Unfortunately, it's going to be called back, but just a variation off that quick screen to the wide receiver. Very effective.
Holding. BC number 54. First down repeated.
Glenn Leonard, the right guard, number 54. And there's a look at Mel Byrd being attended to on the sidelines.
It's the left arm. As a matter of fact, it's the elbow, and they're just giving it a little extra protection, putting some tape on. Mel will be going back in action, so it is not serious.
Thank you, Bill Stevenson. It's first down and 20 for the Lions at their own 28. Now the screen is set up for John Henry White. And John Henry rambles very close to the first down marker at about the 48-yard line before Ricky Barden was there to bring him down.
You talk about execution on offense. They faked the trap to Kevan Jenkins and then set up a screen. Roy DeWalt really running that team efficiently.
And now the Ottawa Roughrider offense trying to devise a scheme to keep those big defensive linemen of the BC Lions out of the face of the Ottawa quarterback. Bob Swift, former great player in the CFL with Toronto, Winnipeg, BC.
Started out as a fullback, Pat, with these BC Lions, and he was a pretty good one.
He certainly was. It's second down and inches. DeWalt keeps it himself, has the first down as he gets to about the 49-yard line.
Well, you know you're getting offensive production when you can have a 1st and 20 and pick it up as easily as they did.
But, you know, the entire BC Lion operation is first rate. I mean, Bobby Ackles and his people in BC run a truly professional operation. Their practice facilities are great.
Yeah, that's a great complex they put together out at Surrey, and you know, that rubs off on the players. They've got a lot of pride in the organization, and they really feel good about being a BC Lion.
DeWalt's pass was a little bit low, and so it goes incomplete.
Talking about Bobby Ackles, as you two were, who is the fine general manager of the BC Lions. You know, Bobby passed in total number of games as the general manager for the BC Lions, the old record held by Herb Capozzi, who's a friend of all of ours, of course. 161 games against Hamilton, and this is his 162nd game as far as the general manager of the BC Lions is concerned for Bobby. His 10th year as the GM, and he certainly deserves congratulations for a fine job.
He sure does. A flag is down. DeWalt's pass goes incomplete. It was trapped at about the 53-yard line by Pankratz. But there is a penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage, holding against BC.
See a lot of holding calls tonight. Ronnie Robinson, the injured BC Lion receiver, didn't really see what happened to him, but seems like he's in a lot of pain. But once again,
BC number 65 decline. Third down.
Gerald Roper, number 65, the left guard, is called for holding, but Ottawa declines it. And that will set up a 3rd and 10.
You know that the BC Lions are starting balloting for an all-time all-star team of the BC club since they first started in 1954. Boy, that brings back a flood of memories to me when you start thinking of the great players and you start looking at the great ones that'll be in Saskatchewan tonight. As a matter of fact, for the full weekend, they have Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. We're doing that game Sunday afternoon, but the all-time Rough Rider team is on hand for that one. And Leaf, I know you're looking forward to it.
hey, I can't wait to get out there. There's going to be a lot of good friends and camaraderie take place this weekend in Regina, and we're lucky we're going to be out there televising that game. And of course, we're going to show you that on Sunday afternoon, the all-time Rough Rider team. And I don't think we'd be giving away any secrets if we said that Ron Lancaster had a good shot at being the quarterback.
George Reed.
Yeah.
But you know what I was going to say about that Winnipeg, Saskatchewan? It really is one of the great rivalries in the CFL.
Boy, I sure remember playing those Labor Day games, and whenever Winnipeg came to town on that September Sunday, it always made for a great game. And I don't think this one's going to be any different because the Saskatchewan Roughriders look so good in their last win. And of course, Winnipeg at 5-2 is playing well.
They'll probably have their all-time record crowd. The place is completely sold out and has been for a week.
Yeah, that's right.
Basaglia's punt bounces in front of Zeno, who takes it at the 14-yard line. Catterbone throws the block for him. But Zeno is only able to get out over the 25 to about the 26 or 27-yard line. So the BC Lions continue to lead the Ottawa Roughriders 17-3 with 3:09 left to play in the first half. We'll be back in a moment.
On the thigh with a helmet, so he's put an extra pad on. He says it just hurts a little bit, and now he's running it off, and he'll be going back in action.
Bernard Quarles was forced to keep the ball himself, and by the time he elected to run it, he gets back to the line of scrimmage no further. Quarles starting his 3rd season in pro football. As Leaf mentioned, he's from the University of Hawaii. He's 25 years of age. But the big thing that he's got over JC, he has two big things, really. His height at 6'1", and the fact that he's got a real gun.
He was never able to use that effectively, though, Pat, with the Calgary Stampeders, and they finally gave up on it.
Yeah, that's quite true. Quarterbacks are tough to come by. He flicks it out there to